This is a watchman on the narrow way with a rebuke of the Torah movement. You probably know that Christianity is 100% apostate, but the Torah movement is in error also. Feasting in a polluted land, observing an evening-to-evening polluted Babylonian Sabbath in darkness, pushing the Paleo-Hebrew on people, which is a stumbling block, hating their neighbor, doing despite what it says to do in Leviticus 19, verses 15 through 18, tolerating that witch Jezebel, pursuing endless genealogies, and never going to learn what Messiah means in Matthew chapter 9 when he says, I desire mercy, not sacrifice. Go learn what this means. What it means is he desires that we fulfill the royal law and warn our neighbors of coming destruction and judgment that begins at the house of God. This is not a season or a time of feasting, because these feasts are not sanctified right now. They are not holy, because we are doing them, those that are doing them, in a polluted land with a perverted calendar. So let's take a look at some scriptures. Now, before we get into some of the scriptures in Deuteronomy and Ezra's, 2 Chronicles, Daniel, and Acts, let's read what Baruch has to say about feasting in a polluted land. He says, Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us for a reproach and a curse, according to all the iniquities of our fathers, which departed from Jehovah our God. So what's he saying? He's basically saying that we've been punished, we've been scattered to the four corners, and these feasts are off the table right now. Verse 9, Hear, Israel, the commandments of life. Give ear to understand wisdom. How happeneth it, Israel, that thou art in thine enemy's land, that thou art waxen old in a strange country? Jeshurun has waxen fat. Deuteronomy 32, the new song of Moses, that thou art defiled with the dead. Thou art counted with them that go down into the grave. Thou hast forsaken the fountain of wisdom, because we're outside of covenant. The whole world is deceived. Nobody's keeping the Ten Commandments except for a small group of people at straightasthegate.net. And boy, before you think that the Torah movement is keeping the Ten Commandments, if they're doing the feasts in a polluted land, they have gone after their covetousness, broken the Ten Commandment. They've basically made an idol out of the biblical feast, because they're off the table right now, and they are going down the road of doing those presumptuous sins, the great transgression. For if thou hadst walked in the way of Jehovah, thou shouldest have dwelt in peace, the peace of the Holy Covenant, forever. Additionally, if they're doing an evening-to-evening polluted Sabbath, then they've made the commandment of God, the fourth commandment, of none effect by their own vain tradition. Now, deceived and presumptuous Torah evening wolves in defending doing the feasts will often say things like the feasts are forever, and they are. But Jehovah's people were not supposed to break the Holy Covenant and get dispersed to the four corners of the earth. And so we're not in the land. We have a perverted calendar that Jehovah took away from us as punishment. This is a time of mourning and woe. This is not a time of celebration. So let's read a little bit from Deuteronomy, which is the second instruction of Jehovah. Deuteronomy 16, verse 2, Thou shalt therefore sacrifice the Passover unto the Lord Jehovah thy God, of the flock and the herd, in the place which the Lord Jehovah shall choose to place his name there. He has not placed his name in the four corners of the earth. Deuteronomy 16, verse 11, And thou shalt rejoice before the Lord Jehovah thy God, thou and thy son and thy daughter, and thy manservant, and thy maidservant, and the Levite that is within thy gates, and the stranger, and the fatherless, and the widow that are among you, in the place which the Lord Jehovah thy God hath chosen to place his name. Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 5, But unto the place which the Lord Jehovah your God shall choose out of all your tribes to put his name there, even unto his habitation shall ye seek, and thither thou shalt come. Verse 11, Then there shall be a place which the Lord Jehovah your God shall choose to cause his name to dwell there. Thither shall ye bring all that I command you, your burnt offerings and your sacrifices, your tithes and the heave offering of your hand, and all your choice vows which you vow unto the Lord Jehovah your God. But in the place which the Lord Jehovah shall choose, in one of thy tribes, there thou shalt offer thy burnt offerings, and there thou shalt do all that I command thee. Verse 18, Deuteronomy 12, But thou must eat them before the Lord Jehovah thy God in the place which the Lord Jehovah thy God shall choose, thou and thy son and thy daughter, and thy manservant and thy maidservant, and the Levite that is within thy gates, and thou shalt rejoice before the Lord Jehovah thy God in all that thou puttest thine hands unto. Verse 26, Only thy holy things which thou hast, and thy vows thou shalt take, and go unto the place which the Lord Jehovah shall choose. Now let's go to Deuteronomy 16, verse 2. Thou shalt therefore sacrifice the Passover unto the Lord Jehovah thy God of the flock and the herd, in the place which the Lord Jehovah shall choose to place his name there. Chapter 16, Deuteronomy, the second instruction of Jehovah, verse 11. And thou shalt rejoice before the Lord Jehovah thy God, thou and thy son and thy daughter, and thy manservant, and thy maidservant, and the Levite that is within thy gates, and the stranger, and the fatherless, and the widow that are among you, in the place which the Lord Jehovah thy God hath chosen to place his name there. Now let's go to 2 Chronicles chapter 6, verse 6. But I have chosen Jerusalem, this is Jehovah speaking to David, but I have chosen Jerusalem, that my name might be there, and have chosen David to be over my people Israel. Excuse me, he was speaking to Solomon. This was the instruction that Solomon was given in 2 Chronicles 6:1. 2 Chronicles chapter 12, verse 13. So King Rehoboam strengthened himself in Jerusalem and reigned. For Rehoboam was 41 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 17 years in Jerusalem, the city which the Lord Jehovah had chosen, Jerusalem, out of all the tribes of Israel, to put his name there. Now, for the sake of time, I'm going to skip to Acts 18:21, but you need to read Ezra chapter 6, 2 Chronicles 30, and also Daniel, and you'll see that Daniel did not feast. He fasted in captivity. Acts 18:21. This is Paul being recorded by Luke in the book of Acts. And Paul bade them farewell, saying, I must by all means keep this feast that cometh in Jerusalem, but I will return again unto you, if Jehovah will. And he sailed from Ephesus. So these feasts are not sanctified right now. They are unholy. Don't do them. This is a time of mourning, sackcloth, and ashes, because the world is about to be destroyed, and judgment begins at the house of God. So don't be like one of these dumb dog Torah movement evening wolves who are filling their own bellies and not warning the people. They've rejected the magnification of the law written about in Isaiah 42. He will magnify the law and make it honorable. We are to be teaching the Ten Commandments, getting as many people as we possibly can into covenant, because this is not a time of feasting. This is a time of warning the people and loving our neighbor. In Yeshua's name, go search these scriptures out.